The average solo GP is dead. Being handcuffed to a practice that only makes money while you're drilling crushes your freedom. Being trapped at the office is no way to experience life. And doing more fillings and crowns ain't the answer to freedom. Stop it. Freedom comes when your practice makes money without you. Freedom is choosing how many days and how you dental. Ready to forge your freedom? Then keep listening to become a super GP and super CEO. This is the Titanium Practice Podcast with your host, Dr. Stephen Freeman. Let's go.
Hello, all you beautiful people, and welcome what is sure to be the best episode of the Titanium Practice Podcast. I am your host and personal dedicated coach to freedom, Dr. Stephen Freeman. How y'all doing today? So recently we had leap year. And it's always kind of a funny little thing because a lot of people don't understand it, and I don't know why that is. It's a pretty, easy concept to understand. But it made me feel like the year gets an extra day. So there's an extra day to get things done through the year. But it got me to thinking about this concept that a lot of people don't know, or more specifically, a term that people don't know. And for the most part, it comes from Louisiana French, the Creole, Lagniappe. And it's a funny word about a small thing that can make a really big difference in your personal life and in your professional life. So Lagniappe is the idea of giving a little bit extra. Giving a little bit extra, typically free to a customer. Like think of the baker's dozen idea. So rather than 12 bagels, you get 13 bagels, but at the same price as 12. So that idea of Lagniappe is just giving you a little bit something extra. And it makes me think, okay, so where is it that I could give my patients a little bit something extra? And it doesn't need to be all your patients. Have you ever looked back through and looked at who are the patients that you've had who have spent the most money with you? We have patients in our practice that have spent $75,000 plus with us. You should probably give that person a little something extra. Have you ever thought about doing that? Have you ever sent them a card? A simple handwritten card to say thank you. And, obviously everyone's practice is different, so it may not be $75,000, but if someone gives you $5,000, $10,000, that's a lot of money, man. That is a lot of money. They are putting your kids through college. They are sending you on vacation. And obviously, I know all that money doesn't go directly into your pocket. I understand profit, all that stuff, which is what we're trying to improve here with all that. But at the same time, they're the ones that are truly your ideal patient. We've talked about your ideal patient before. And that can really, have you ever sat down and said, maybe you didn't know what your avatar was supposed to be? And so you go back through and maybe look to see who has given you the most money. Now, most practice management software suck. They're terrible. They are literally designed by people who have no idea about business at all and about the things you would actually want to follow. Every time I go to my practice office, my office manager, Amy, and I ask her, I'm like, how could we tell if X happens? There's no report that exists. None. I mean, it's the dumbest thing. All of these platforms are absolutely terrible, and they have no idea on how to actually focus on things that are actually going to move the needle. So I don't know who designs these things, but they're awful. And I don't have the answer for it, and I hate giving criticism when I don't come with an answer as well, but man, they're terrible. Anyways, if you can look through your practice management software and actually look to see who has actually given you the most money, send them a card. Send them flowers. Send them tickets to a movie theater. I mean, it's a little thing that you can do to make their life significantly better. How cheap is your whitening? I think we've got an entire kit. I think we use opalescence, some suck down tray thing. I don't even know what they use. I don't care. But I think they use opalescence. I think an entire treatment for whatever, I don't even know what that would mean, but it's $75. Well, if someone gave me $10,000, I can probably give them $75 worth of free product as a thank you. And if you do that totally unannounced, just when they come in for their next hygiene appointment, they think it's going to be an average appointment. They show up. They probably have their preferred hygienist that they want to see. You do all your pleasantries and blah, blah, blah. But if you took 2 minutes after your exam and said, hey, I just wanted to say thank you for all that you've been doing with our practice. I know you've been sending people to our practice. They may or may not have been. Doesn't matter. But I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to you. What do you think that would do? When's the last time you flew and you got a free upgrade? How did you feel? What did that make you feel like when you got that free upgrade? Same thing when you check into a room. You think you're going to be in whatever room you booked, and all of a sudden now you're in the penthouse suite. It's an amazing feeling. It's a great feeling. When you get added value, that is where you make money. Creating value for people. If you do the little extra things, you are giving them more than what they paid for. And then people just love surprises. And I should preface that with saying my wife actually hates surprises, but like good, happy surprises that she doesn't have to like worry about and stuff like that. But the point is giving people a little something extra, something a little bit more than what they paid for, goes an enormous way for retention, for referrals, and for future acceptance for treatment. It's an amazing thing. And how much did it cost you? I think about this, and that's why when we really start to delve into marketing, what we're going to focus initially on is internal marketing. I know so many dentists who will just run themselves ragged and just spray money into the wind to get a new patient, but spend so little on retention because it doesn't seem as sexy. It doesn't. It sucks because you can spend so much less on rewarding a patient for a referral, for saying thank you for getting treatment. And it doesn't need to be for a referral. Like I just said, just thanks for coming in all the time. You have so many patients in your practice that call and cancel their appointments last second. So many. It's amazing how often I see when someone cancels and I just go back through their history. And it's just like their whole family sucks. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Their whole family comes to you, but there's always a something. And I understand life gets in the way, but you know these sons of bitches who are just totally taking advantage of you. And you just want them nowhere near your practice. And if social media didn't exist, I would tell them that. And for the most part, we do. If it gets to the point, it's just like, you're wasting our time, please just go somewhere else. We normally look for those folks who are also a little bit mean to us as well, because man, people are getting mean out there. So mean. How many places have you gone that you've recently seen signs on like a restaurant that says, please be nice to our employees? How crazy is it that you need to have a sign out in front of your business that says, please be nice to your employees? So I keep tinkering with this idea of adding the Ritz-Carlton's, we are ladies and gentlemen, serving ladies and gentlemen, blah, 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 act correctly or accordingly. And it's just nuts that you're at that point. But when those people come in regularly, that they're the clockwork, and they don't make your front desk work to get them in, and they just come in, what is that worth to you? to not have to do extra to have them come in. Give them a little something extra. Again, a card, cookie, cake. People love sweets. Heck, if it's got sugar on it, that's repeat business coming your way right there. But, I used to, when I first opened my office, I wanted to make it really nice in the waiting room. We actually had soda in the waiting room. Sprite, Coke, whatever. And people got so mad. They're just like, oh, you're the dentist. How could you possibly have soda in the waiting room? And I'm like, you've got it at home. What different? I'm just trying to be nice to you. But people were totally pissed about us having soda and giving it to them. I was like, fine, I won't do it. It blew my mind. I get it. It's not healthy for your teeth, but you're doing it anyways. So I'm just trying to give you what I thought you wanted. But man, that blew up in our face. So we stopped that really quickly. I mean, it's just, people still took it. They bitched about it, but they took it. That's always my favorite. But these people who just come in like clockwork to your office and don't have to do anything, man, they make your front desk life easy. They make your life easy. And keep in mind, a lot of people forget this. Any office that I've ever worked with, looked at, whatever, most of your revenue comes from your recare patients. On average, it's right around 60%. So 40% comes from your new patients and 60% comes from your recare patients. Somewhere in that ballpark. And it's funny because you get so mad to have to get up and go do those exams. So mad. And I get it. Especially if you just got that band and wedge around your tooth and you're just about ready to fill your composite and you look over and you see a hygienist or two peeking around the corner being like, can you get your ass out of the chair and come do my exam so I can get them on the way and stay on schedule so you don't get mad at me? And you throw your stuff down and you have to go do your exam. I mean, that is where your revenue comes from. That's also why you need to have associates, so you don't have to feel that way all the time. You cut down on the number of times that you need to go and do that. Or if you don't want to deal with having associates, get more into the specialty game. So you've got less of those checks to go and do. But in the meantime, that is where your revenue comes from. It comes from those recare patients. You should be getting up with a smile. I get another crack at the bat to go and pitch to this patient the thing that they need. Almost all of them need something. I'm in a giant military town. So like naval. Navy's huge here in Florida. And so there are giant amalgams for days, as far as the eye can see. We also have a lot of people come from the Northeast. I don't know what is done in the Northeast. Just amalgams the size of Mount St. Helen. I mean, just as much of that crap you can cram into a tooth. It's remarkable. It's truly remarkable. And so we get a ton of folks from the Northeast and Navy. I mean, the number of crowns that can be done in our office is, and we do a lot, but it still could be more because it's just so many. But that's every time you get up from that chair, you should be thinking about the fact of you get another chance to go give that patient what they need. And again, I'm not talking anything unethical, blah, blah, blah. Yes, for all you out there that are like that, it's for what the patient needs. And you know they need it. Once you get into the implant game, it will completely change your view on this. If you see an MOD on a premolar, I like to call that a pre-implant. You better crown that sucker or it's going to fracture and break. The cusp is going to break off, and then the question becomes is how far below the gum did it crack? We place implants in premolars all day long, and it's my favorite site to place an implant. My favorite site. Low aesthetic concerns, easy to reach. So that's fine. I mean, if I see an MOD, I crown almost every MOD on a premolar. Every single time, because I know if I don't do that, they are going to fracture that tooth at some point in time. They will lose that tooth and then they will need an implant. So if they don't do it, I could care less. I'll be patient, I'll wait, and I'll do your implant for you. Could care less if you do the crown on it. I care less if you do any of the treatment that I tell you to do. That's one of the things you can really start to do once you have freedom of margin, freedom of time. Going in and doing a treatment plan presentation when you are free of worrying about bills, worrying about time, doesn't matter. Once those things don't matter, your treatment presentation will completely change. When I walk in, I could care less. Do it, don't do it. I don't care because I have someone right after you that is willing to do this. And or I will be patient and wait if you don't want to crown that tooth because I know you're going to need an implant in the future. And I mean, obviously some of it is economic. Obviously you have to feel for the folks who literally can't afford it. But especially when those folks pick up their Louis Vuitton bag and walk out with the latest iPhone in their hand or whatever and say that they're about to go on vacation. That's my favorite. That is my absolute favorite. I can't afford it because I'm about to go on a cruise. Okay, great. So you can spend $8,000 on a cruise, but you can't do the thing that you really need. That's okay. I'll be patient. Because by the time you extract and graft that tooth, put an implant, abutment and crown on that tooth, you're going to pay me $5,000 rather than $1,000. Great. That's fine. I'll make 5x on this thing. Or whatever the numbers are. Doesn't matter. So that's fine. I mean, people spend money on the things that they want. So how do you make them want that thing? You increase the value of what it is that you give to them. Lagniappe. Surprise them. And it doesn't have to just be the patient. What about your staff? You have some lead assistant who busts her ass for you every single day. They make sure there's production on your schedule. They make sure that patient's happy because they're pissed off about something. When's the last time you just walked up and gave them a $100 bill? And some of you are like, oh, they already get paid too much, wage inflation and blah. So what? So what? It'll be a pennies on the dollar investment for you. I mean, good Lord. I mean, it's a shitty job being a dental assistant. I don't know how they do it. I honestly don't. I love my assistants. I absolutely love them. Love them to death because they do a job that I could never do, and I'm always impressed when people do something that I could never, ever do. And they do it, and it's a dirty job, it's a messy job. They have to take instruction from you, they have to take instruction from the patient, and then they have to figure it out somewhere in the middle between those two of what is they're actually going to do. And then you go and take an impression and they throw up all over you. I mean, good Lord. What an awful job. So when's the last time you gave them a little something extra? Yes, they did their hourly for you. Here's $100. Thanks for dealing with Mrs. Jones. Or not even something specific. Here's $100 because I appreciate you. That goes a long way. And you may not think $100 is that much money to you. $100 to these ladies is a gigantic amount of money. Because we always give them a bonus around Christmas time. And I always get hugs and tears from these people because I've paid for their Christmas, for their kids. That's what it means to them, is I pay for their Christmas, for their kids. And that's cool. How cool is that? Like little Timmy gets a better bike or a bike at all because of the bonus that I gave to them. I mean, that's a great feeling. It's amazing. But you don't have to wait till Christmas. You don't have to wait. Just random Lagniappe. Give a little bit something extra, a little bit more than the value of what you all settled on that they were going to get paid. What have you done for your family? What have you done from your family that's a little bit extra? You put down that phone? Stop looking at reels all the time? I mean, it doesn't have to be monetary. We've talked before a lot about experiences and how important experiences are for you to create for your family and your team. But the little extra things you can do, obviously I know you're paying for their food, you're paying for their school and activities and all that stuff. But there are non-monetary things that you can do for them to give them a little bit extra. And the biggest thing that you can do is give them your time. It's one of the big things I do. I told you I go for a walk with my daughter, and I try to do it once a week. Just walk around the neighborhood. It's good exercise. We get her outside, get the kid off the pad. You know, just get out there and find out what's going on with your kids. And you may say, oh, my kid doesn't want to do that. Well, I mean, maybe you make them do that because you know it's the right thing to do. Parents who are involved in their kids' lives have kids that do better at everything. I mean, study after study will show that. Be all up in their video. Don't let them be watching videos all the time. Make a video with them. If they're really into TikTok, if you've got a kid who's really into make a video with them. Learn the stupid dance that they're doing. I mean, you'll have a ball. You'll have an absolute blast doing it. Because you just got to remember, you just act a fool. I act a fool all the time. All the time. I mean, you got to have fun. You got to have fun in life. So what if you made a TikTok video with your daughter? I mean, it's free. And it gets you up and moving rather than you sitting on the phone or messing around, doing whatever you want. And you just spent time with your daughter or your son or whatever. Go practice. If it's your son, go practice trick shots. Maybe say, well, let's try to make a video for TikTok where we do trick shots. And I know there's a million people out there that are doing them, but I mean, it's something fun and different. And it doesn't need to be that. How do you engage with your kids in a way that's meaningful? And again, it doesn't cost any money maybe they need a selfie stick. I don't know. They probably have it. A ring light. What does a ring light cost? $25? Cares? Amazon it. Be at the house tomorrow. Great. Awesome. Now let's do our TikTok dance. It'll be amazing. So these simple things of just giving a little bit extra will just gigantic dividends for you. Again, small hinges can swing big doors. And Lagniappe is that idea of if you just give them a little something extra, they'll come back wanting more. People love value, especially now. Especially now. God, everyone's all paying. They talk about shrinkflation, about how even if these companies aren't changing the price for a product, but you used to get, 10 ounces of ice cream, but now you get 8 ounces of ice cream. Everyone sees it. These packages are all smaller. What if you did the opposite? What if you went where other people won't? Talked about that in another podcast. Go to where other people won't. You give more now. You give more. And I promise you, it will come back to you many times fold. Many times fold. Your kids will have a better life. You'll have a better team. You'll have better patients because now you're attracting the people that you want to have in your practice who value what you do and have already paid you. You know who's the most likely person to spend money with you? Somebody who's already spent money with you. That is why recare patients are absolute titanium to you. That's why they buy from you. They've already bought from you once. It's trust. So if you give them a little bit extra value, and it doesn't need to be everyone. You don't need to treat all the patients the same. There are a lot of crappy patients in your practice. I got a lot of crappy patients in my practice, but I've also got some amazing patients in my practice. And I've been doing this long enough now that, we've seen some of them go through their lifespan. I mean, it's scary. It's sad. But, they become part of your family. And if you treat them amazingly, they will stay with you for a really, really long time. And those are the people that you should be giving a little bit extra to. People who make your life better, invest in them and give them a little bit something extra. I promise you, it will pay off handsomely. in so many ways you can never think of. All right, so Lagniappe. Learn it, love it, do it, okay? We'd love to have you over at the Titanium Practice Podcast, or I'm sorry, titaniumpractice.com. Make sure you get a copy of our book, Forging Your Freedom. Remember, I am dedicated to your freedom. If there's any way that I can help you get to the point of freeing yourself from your practice, we'd love to hear from you. So like I said, head on over to titaniumpractice.com. Until next time, I will talk to you again. All right? Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.
You've been listening to the Titanium Practice Podcast with your host, Dr. Stephen Freeman. Please hit the like and subscribe button and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Titanium Practice. Questions or comments? Send an email to info@titaniumpractice.com. Join us next time to help turn your average practice into a titanium practice.